Hey everybody, welcome to the Hey Periscope people, and welcome YouTube and Facebook and people on the website, wherever you're watching. Thanks so much for joining. We are talking about gratefulness that makes sense. It's Thanksgiving, so we're talking about gratefulness. I'm going to tell you a story to start out. When I was living in Taiwan, hey Yenling, thanks for joining. When I was living in Taiwan, after my first year there in a small town outside of Taipei, I had a vision, I had a dream to start a youth community center. And I shared this with some parents in Taipei. And there was one parent I remember, Beverly Gillum, who really supported it. I mean, she was all on board. She was so encouraging. She was all about it. When we eventually decided to go after it, she went with me like all over the city, helping put things together. I was just 21, 22 years old at the time. So I knew I had a vision, but I didn't really know what I was doing, and I really could use a lot of encouragement. And so she really provided that. And there was another parent, of these high school kids that we were going to start this community center for. He was actually the ambassador to Taiwan from the country of Swaziland. And, and I didn't talk to him. I didn't know him that well. I didn't talk to him a lot, but I saw him one day in church, and we were underway and putting this thing together and raising funds from multiple churches across Taipei. And he came up to me and he said, well, I wanted to meet the man. He said it with his Swaziland accent, but he said, I wanted to meet the man, the young boy who is raising all these funds and starting this community center. And I said, oh, hi, my name's Billy. And I don't think he meant to be discouraging, but the way he kind of talked, hey, Allison, the way he kind of talked made me feel like I was just a little kid with maybe a big dream. But, it was almost like, why are all these pastors and churches entrusting this money, and this responsibility to this kid? So the point is, I had one parent who really supported me in a huge way. I mean, it wouldn't have happened without her support and without her working alongside me. Then I had another parent who was really respected, and I don't think he meant anything negative by it. And he was the ambassador from Swaziland to Taiwan. But, he kind of said something to me, I think unintentionally, but made me feel really, really small. It made me doubt myself for a moment. And so on day 2 of gratefulness, we're going to be grateful for the Barnabases in our lives. We're going to be grateful for the encouragers in our lives. And here's the big one. We're going to be grateful that we can be encouragers in somebody else's life. To me, this is the key to a great day, no matter what is going on in your life. If you're having a hard day or a bad day, here's what I want you to do. Just say to yourself, you know what? I'm going to get over this, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to find somebody to encourage. I'm going to sit down at the computer and I'm going to write an email, and I'm going to just say something awesome to somebody. Hey, Jan, you're amazing. I just wanted to tell you the way that you do this or do that is incredible. Nobody else could do it the way that you do. I believe in you. Sorry, I got to block that guy. I believe in you. You might write a handwritten note. A lot of people don't get those anymore. I just wrote 2 of those yesterday to people who had shown us around this school. My grandfather graduated from there in 1940, and they were so sweet to us. They work at the school, and I wrote them handwritten notes, and they got them. They said, you didn't have to do that. And I said, you know what? That's what makes my day amazing, is being able to be a Barnabas to somebody. You go out and find somebody, right? Your spouse, your kid, whoever, and you go and sit them down, look them in the eye and say, I just want to affirm you. I want to build you up. So we're going to jump in the Bible here really quickly. We're in Acts 9, and this is when Saul has just, had his eyes open after the Damascus Road experience. He goes back to Jerusalem, and in verse 26, he says he tried to meet with the believers, the ones that he was always trying to kill before, but they were all afraid of him. They did not believe he had truly become a believer. Then Barnabas, that's it. Then Barnabas. There would be no Paul. He would have stayed Saul if there wasn't a then Barnabas moment in his life. Then Barnabas brought him to the apostles, told them how Saul had seen the Lord on the way to Damascus. Now, I just want to end with this thought. Barnabas had to risk something. Barnabas, don't miss it. Don't miss it. Barnabas had to risk something. He wasn't just a happy-go-lucky encourager. Oh, you're so beautiful today, or I love you, or you're awesome, or whatever, right? No, Barnabas took a huge risk to back Saul. He brought him to the apostles and told them how Saul had seen the Lord on the way to Damascus. Well, Barnabas wasn't there on the road to Damascus. Barnabas had to trust. Barnabas had to believe. Barnabas put his name on the line. Barnabas put people in danger, right? He had to believe that Saul was actually different. There are times when people need you to believe in them because they are not even believing in themselves. There's times when people need you to believe in them because you're going to be the only one who does. But it might just be that that person ends up being a Saul who becomes a Paul. And here's what I want to tell you. Saul, who became Paul, wrote, I guess, most of the New Testament, right? Probably the greatest theologian of all time. Barnabas was the father, essentially, of Paul, right? There would be no Paul without Barnabas. In fact, I heard somebody say, one of my favorite pastors say, would you rather be in Paul's church or Barnabas's church? You'd really rather be in Barnabas's church, right? He was the encourager. He's the one that said, let's take John Mark along. And Paul said, no, I don't want John Mark. He messed up one time. Well, guess what? In Timothy, in 1 Timothy, I think it's 1 Timothy, Paul says, she says to Timothy, hey, bring Mark along with you. And they think that's the same John Mark. So Barnabas built John Mark back up, and then Paul later wants him on his team. All right. So Barnabas could see in people what other people couldn't see in them. It's good to find a Barnabas in your life. But this week, when we're being grateful, here's what I want to encourage you. You can have an amazing day if you just find someone to be a Barnabas too. You can change the world just through one encouraging comment, one encouraging note, looking somebody in the eye and saying, I believe in you. I know you can do it. Take the next step. Do that today, and I am telling you, you will love your life today. You will be so happy you did. And so will I. So do it, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. We're talking about gratefulness this week, so tomorrow is part number 3. Thanks, guys.